Welcome to TMZ Live. More Spencer Pratt news, folks. If elected, Spencer Pratt could be going back to his roots because we have learned that he has signed with a production company, and the production company is currently documenting his campaign for a reality-type show.
That part makes sense. And that you would expect that.
And then Pete Buttigieg did that. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But the contract, we're told, with people who have direct knowledge, the contract says that they can continue rolling even after he's elected, he's elected.
That means that LA would have its first reality show mayor while in office. Actually, I mean, even if he wins, I think it would be our first reality show veteran. But the fact that they would actually be doing a reality show, could be doing a reality show while he's in office,
it's novel.
You know what? It's actually, there's something I like about it. In the accountability, in the realm of accountability.
The only problem is that it's done with his involvement, with his production company, and you almost want an outsider to do it. But it still is actually kind of interesting to see if he's elected, how he would govern. It's really interesting.
I think it could go both ways, but what I think is interesting about this is, I mean, granted, reality shows get edited, but you would see a lot of the behind the scenes that go on. It's not like the president has a reality show, so we don't see, I mean, we see a lot of what happens at the White House, but this would give people in Los Angeles and around the world an inside look.
Here's the downside. The downside is that, number one, being a mayor and running a city is an almost impossible job for somebody really skilled at it, with all sorts of departments that you have to handle, the politics of it all, the city council. There's so much they have to know. If you're playing to the camera, it's sort of like when you have cameras in the courtroom.
It couldn't be a reality series like The Hills was, right? This has got to be, if they're doing it,
but if he sees but if he sees a camera in his office,
does he fall back into his reality show ways?
That's right.
When he sees the camera instead of focusing on his new job,
or shading it for the camera and not for the.
That's a tightrope.
But this is also like it would feature Heidi and their kids. It's not like Brody Jenner's going to show up knock at his office at City Hall and go back to the Hills.
I mean, you gotta have guest appearances.
Yeah,
so. Heidi's going to be a big part of the show. We're told. Now they're already shooting this for the campaign. We're told, and again, like Charles said, not unusual.
That happens.
But Heidi and the kids are a big part of it. They're not staying in LA right now. They are outside the county. While Spencer campaigns, because she's freaked out over the fires and does not want to come back to LA, at least right now. But if they end up back in LA, they will be in the mansion that was featured in Spencer's campaign ad, which is the mayor's mansion.
How often do mayors actually live in that mansion? Do most of them live in that mansion?
Most of them live in the mansion, yes. They do. It's a really nice mansion in Hancock Park there, which is a hoity-toity part of LA.
Which would be interesting if he is now in that, living in that, the very house that he made fun of Karen Bass living in.
But that's where mayors live.
So what is interesting is we've seen on a national level recent criticism of the transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, that he and his wife have a reality show where they're driving around the country and they're being, and the cameras are following as they do this road trip. And people have felt like, well, you're not focusing on your job. This is maybe even more difficult, right?
Well, what's interesting is this will be documenting his job.
Yes. And I think what Sean Duffy has said is, well, this is part of my job, is going around the country.
Well, no, he actually said, I'm not doing it during working hours. I'm doing it on weekends when the kids are off and all that. Yeah. But this would be specifically documenting it. And I got to say, on the one hand, I like the idea of seeing how the levers of government are pulled. On the other hand,
if it doesn't split his attention.
Does it become O.J. Simpson?
What?
Exactly. I knew you'd ask me that. What I mean by O.J. Simpson is that during the trial, I was there, and a lot of the witnesses were playing to the camera, including the judge, and it really messed up the trial because they were playing to the camera rather than doing the core job, and that's what I mean.
Well, I mean, I think Spencer Pratt would be happy if his reality show got the kind of ratings that the O.J. Simpson trial did.
We have no idea.
I don't think it would.
And one thing we don't have any idea on is Spencer Pratt being compensated? We don't know what the deal is.
Yeah.
But there it is.
How's it going? My name is Greg Viviani. I'm down here in Southern California. And I would say the Spencer Pratt issue with him, you know, having that ad campaign and that trailer, I would say he's trying to fight the whole Los Angeles political machine. And, you know, I don't think where he lays his head at night should matter. If he's working 20 hours a day and he gets some sleep, you know, in a trailer at a hotel or wherever, you guys should be focusing on the stories of where is the billions of dollars going, you know, for the homeless crisis, not where is Spencer Pratt laying his head to sleep at night, because he's actually making a difference. And I think the people want a difference. They don't want this, you know.
You're right. But let me ask you a question. Generally, does honesty matter in a campaign?
I believe honesty matters, yes. But
so let me ask you this. When you watched that campaign ad and you saw Spencer in front of that saying, "This is my home," with the trailer behind him.
This is where I live.
This is where I live. Did you believe that he lived in that trailer?
I believed that he lived in that area where his house burned down. I believed that maybe that was one of the areas that he lays his head at night, but it shouldn't matter. We have way bigger issues, I think, in
but it gets
California.
to the
It only matters because he was calling out where his opponents live. So if you're going to call them out for where they live, be honest about where you live. Well, Britney Spears went out for dinner, which doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, but when Britney goes out for dinner, which doesn't happen often, it tends to turn into a bit of an adventure. And that's what happened in Sherman Oaks. I don't know, maybe about 20, 30 minutes away from where she lives.
You guys have heard of Ventura Boulevard, haven't you?
Yes, right along Ventura Boulevard. She went to the Blue Dog Beer Tavern. You been there?
I have not been to the Blue Dog. I haven't been to Ventura Boulevard in a while.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't. But listen, those are your roots. You should remember it.
Totally my roots.
So she's up in the valley. She goes to Blue Dog Tavern, and while she's in there, things got. She sat down with a man and a woman, friends, we're guessing, and
there was a sharp turn.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Good segue. There also happened to be a film critic who was in there, Jeff Snyder. And Jeff is described to us what he saw, because it was certainly alarming. And keep in mind, we've seen some erratic behavior from Britney at times when she's out at restaurants. Last night, apparently no different.
About 15, 20 minutes into our meal, a party of three came in. I took note of the woman because she was blonde and curvy. And she was also screaming and barking and disrupting everybody's meal. Britney tried to light a cigarette in the restaurant at one point. And the staff had to ask her handlers to ask her to stop. She definitely was acting a little out of control. But when she finally left, I turned to all the other diners and I was just like, that was an insane experience. And one of them told me, yeah, I thought she was going to stab me, like she had a knife. And again, I think Britney was just standing up from the table to go to the bathroom and didn't put her knife down. But that is what one patron said to me.
Who does that, where they forget to put their knife down and walk to the bathroom?
I mean,
Britney.
It happens. But listen,
the reason I say it is because, look, we know famously she has posted on Instagram playing with knives.
Yes.
And we also have reported that knives are actually a thing with her, to a point where when the conservatorship ended, the personal conservator actually made a note saying, keep knives away from Britney. So knives are, it's not just a whatever.
Right.
It's a thing.
Yeah. The other thing that stood out was when he said the thing that she tried to light up a cigarette. Was she on a private jet when that happened?
Yes.
I remember there was a time when she was on a private jet. And
from Cabo.
And that she was, that's right, it was like a net share. Yeah, a jet share that she was on. But
the cigarette thing to me isn't that shocking, because the way I understood it is she like went over to like a side door, just kind of probably opened the door, had a crack, but like the smoke is like blowing back into the restaurant.
Right.
The knife thing is, I kind of want to get back to.
Yeah, alarming. I mean,
but again, it's not. this was not a butcher's knife or anything. I get it. A knife is a knife, but who does that? I think someone who, you heard Jeff use the word, that was insane. I know he didn't mean it this way, but it landed on me as a little insensitive because we are dealing with someone who has
a mental illness.
And to answer your question, who does that? Gets up and walks to the bathroom with a knife still in her hand? Someone who has a lot of different things going around in her head.
Well, and we also know, I mean, she had bodyguards with her, but our understanding was they were outside in the car, right? She's inside with an assistant. Maybe she's doing it for protection. Like, in her mind, it's a safety thing that she carries a knife. I mean, I didn't interpret it as like people in the restaurant thought she was gonna walk around and stab people with the knife.
And you heard Jeff say he didn't think that either.
But she did get up from the table and have a knife in her hand, which is uncommon to see at a restaurant.
Yeah, and I don't think there's been any evidence she's ever been aggressive with that, ever.
No.
Before.
But this is where you start to wonder about her own safety for herself.
And it gets back, I'm sorry, to the whole conservatorship, which is all the Free Britney people who all, for 2 years were screaming, let her go, get her out of this conservatorship, free Britney. It's like the one thing they never ever talked about, ever, was mental illness. And 24 doctors diagnosed her. And there was a reason it happened in the first place. The casting may have not been right in the end, but how is she now? I mean, yeah, she's free, but she doesn't have the structure and the protection. And I'm sorry.
Silver lining, if there is one here, she went out to dinner with friends. And we know that this has been a problem for Britney, that she's alone so much and that she had 2 friends with her last night.
Good.
Great.
That's great.
I'm Karina. I'm from the DC area. And my main takeaway from this whole Britney story is, yes, we have seen her dancing with knives in her kitchen. To me, I wouldn't have been worried if I was a patron at that restaurant because I've seen the videos and I feel like, yeah, she's trained with knives, apparently. And as far as the barking goes, I think she is just, at the end of the day, an actress and was telling a very loud story. And when people see Britney, they jump to conclusions that she's losing her mind, even though, yes, we do need to be aware of her mental illness. I think she was fine in the restaurant. I think she was just having a good time with friends.
I'm going to quote John Mayer from like 2012. Show me the baby.
Well, we don't need to wake up the baby. If the baby's sleeping, we don't. I mean, because then she's going to have to deal with the crying baby, and we just get to go on with the show.
Well, all I'm seeing is that could be a dog. Because all we saw was hair. All we saw was hair. I wanted to see the baby.
A beautiful baby, man. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Coming up.
Chris Rock is revealing something about a beef he had, not with Will Smith, but someone else very famous.
And there is a Will Smith connection here that could explain a lot.
Be right back.
Chris Rock is revealing something about a beef he had, not with Will Smith, but someone else very famous.
And there is a Will Smith connection here that could explain a lot.
Possibly. There's a theory here. But Chris Rock was sitting down with David Spade and Dana Carvey. This was part of the Netflix Is a Joke Festival.
Their Fly on the Wall podcast.
And they asked him a simple question about his favorite rappers, his top 5. I don't think they had any clue that it would lead to this discovery about Chris Rock and Tupac.
When you talk about Top 5, the movie, are your top 5 rappers the same top 5 as they were when you filmed Top 5?
My top 5 rappers?
Mm-hmm.
Tupac didn't like me.
You got 1 hour.
Wait a minute, that's a chapter. Tupac didn't like me.
Tupac did not like me.
I didn't hear that.
See eye to eye on everything.
What could you and Tupac not get along about?
It's always the same same girls, right? That's the first thing, right?
Oh.
It's always like, I saw her, whatever, right? He always won that battle. One year at the MTV Awards, I presented some award. And Suge Knight was in the audience, and I did like some joke about Suge. Tupac was like, what's up with all that black people? Like, and he kind of stepped to me, but I didn't. Tupac was not that big. He photographs big, but he's not that big.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was pretty skinny. I'm still pretty skinny. So a skinny guy can't wait to fight a skinny guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, really? But nothing happened. Nothing happened. But we definitely had a little
Yeah.
There was definitely some mean mugging going on.
So let's deconstruct. So Tupac and Chris Rock would try and date the same women. Tupac usually won. So there are a couple of women that come to mind that Tupac dated. Madonna for sure.
Yep.
But there's another one that's really interesting, and that would be Jada Pinkett. Now Jada says.
Jada's side of this has always been that they are soulmates, but platonic soulmates.
That's an odd thing.
Very odd, but that was her version of it.
She says it.
But when you heard Tupac speak about it, it certainly seemed more romantic when he did.
So hold on. So Chris Rock and Tupac were after the same women, and Jada was in that group. And
I feel like this is some really whack algebra you're trying to do here, but
so if you're Jada's husband, Will Smith, and you know this backstory, and you believe in the whole bro code or whatever it is thing, and you're thinking, wait a minute, did Chris Rock or didn't Chris Rock? And that kind of simmers over a period of time, and then there's the Oscars.
And he says one thing about Jada, and that's why the camel's back breaks.
Wasn't the joke. It's the backstory.
It's all the backstory.
Yeah.
And so you think that Will Smith was sitting there that night at the Oscars and knew all of this stuff that Chris Rock just revealed to us.
Simmering beef.
Well, and in her memoir, Jada said that Chris Rock asked her out once because he thought she and Will were going to get divorced. So that ties into all of this.
So that would have been later than Tupac.
Later, but what I'm saying is,
still a big,
if Chris Rock always had kind of a crush on Jada, and he and Tupac dated the same women, means he might have had a good shot at her, except she picked Tupac, and then when he died...
did say that Tupac won every time
Tupac always won, and then when Tupac died, she doesn't come to Chris Rock, she goes to Will Smith. There's a lot of resentment there, and if Will thinks that...
that's the thing. If Will is thinking that, now he's looking at the guy on the stage who was beefing with Tupac over dating the same women, and he's sitting next to one of them, and Chris Rock tells a joke.
You at her for years. Chris Rock had made fun of Jada for years.
You should talk less. When you have your crazy theories and Eric actually signs on, it helps. And suddenly when Eric says that, you go like, well, maybe that makes sense. And then you start talking again, I go, nope,
okay, that's
definitely not.
That's solid.
I personally think that Will Smith might have the emotional maturity to understand that was just a joke. But I don't know. I don't think that really ties into it. I think it was just the disrespect.
See, the problem is you were speaking last.
It's not.
She doesn't buy it.
But it's not about the joke. Is the point? Is what I'm saying. Although it's interesting that it's called Netflix is a joke. There's some connection.
Well, we are getting closer. There's no doubt. We know this, that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are getting married this summer. The question is where, when, and who's going to be there. What we found out is that Taylor is taking a very hands-on approach, and not only is this about, being kind to her guests, I think this is about secrecy. We found out that she is, instead of mailing out save the dates, she's actually getting on the phone to...
With everybody?
To some of the celeb guests. Some of them, I don't think she's calling every single person.
But if you're going to do it...
she's getting on the phone.
You send one email out and it can go... Well, you got to call everybody.
You could, but then you now have put an electronic trail out there.
Wait, so she's calling So she's calling the celebrities because what? She doesn't trust them more than she doesn't trust the normies?
Everyone... What we're being told is that everyone is being called.
Oh.
She's not necessarily making all of the calls.
So other people may call the other ones.
Yes, there may be people on her staff who are making these calls.
What if the assistant calls somebody and says, I'm a big celebrity, why didn't I get the call? I'm serious.
Yeah, I guess that's a challenge here. But really this is about making sure there is no paper trail or electronic trail that
no wedding invite?
Could leak.
So there's no wedding invite?
No, it's not the wedding invite. It's the STD.
This is the save the date.
No, I know, but when the wedding invite comes out...
We should not call it the STD.
It's the STD.
Don't call it an STD.
That's a horrible...
You guys, that's what they call it in the wedding community.
Well, they should not.
But yes, there is no physical STD. And so...
Save the date. Save the date.
Save the date,
okay.
Sure.
But will there be a wedding invitation?
Unclear. However, hold on. Here's the issue a lot of people are having. So she's calling either her or her team are calling people, letting them know, hey, want to make sure your summer is flexible. Can't tell you what date we're gonna get married. Can't tell you where.
Well, who goes?
But you gotta just be ready.
What the hell?
I know.
Listen, the hell?
I have been so angered by this because it is.
On any given weekend or day or whatever, you're going to say, oh, you got to come to the wedding this day.
Keep your entire summer open because we're going to get married.
Of course you will. If you know that you're going to be going to Taylor Swift's wedding, you cancel every single thing
you can't have a life because they're getting married. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yes, if you want to be there, that's what you got to do.
Hoity-toity.
Coming up.
A lot of people have been wondering ever since Nicki Minaj decided that she was going to jump into politics with both feet, how she ended up there. She says there are two people really to blame, Barack Obama and Jay-Z.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Phoebe Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at.
TMZ.
A lot of people have been wondering ever since Nicki Minaj decided that she was going to jump into politics with both feet, how she ended up there. How did Nicki Minaj end up being besties with President Trump and going to events with him, taking photos with him, and going to fundraisers? Well, she says there are two people really to blame, Barack Obama and Jay-Z. The Jay-Z part doesn't surprise me that she'd find some way to blame Jay-Z because, as everyone knows, Nicki hates Jay, has for years. They've got a long-standing beef. So this is how she lays it out, why those two people are the ones to blame.
She was talking to Time magazine.
Yes, talking to Time. She said, I think Jay-Z ended up costing Obama a lot. Whether he knows it or not, lots of rappers don't like Jay-Z and were afraid to say it. So now she's going back to when Obama was running. She thinks that pushed some people over to the Republican side. So Nicki then was referring to a speech that Obama made during Kamala's campaign, and he basically said that there were some black men who wouldn't vote for her because she's a woman. And so Nicki felt this way. She said, I just saw so many videos of black men saying that they didn't like the way they felt about that speech Obama gave. They felt like they weren't being listened to.
I remember that.
She raises an interesting point.
I think Nicki's got a real point here, that there is this thing where certain groups, black people, Jewish people, others,
minority
are told,
groups,
gay people, that you're supposed to vote a certain way, and that if you decide you don't want to vote that way, there's an element of shame, there's an element of people, with retribution in your community, and it shouldn't be that way. And it's almost racist or anti-Semitic or whatever to say that because you're of a certain race or religion or sexual orientation,
that you have to vote a certain way.
As if we're all the same.
But I think you're actually starting to see that change. I do remember that Obama clip because they got a lot of attention at the time. He had basically said that there were black men out there that didn't want to vote for Kamala because she was a woman.
Right.
And that, I think, didn't sit right with a lot of
and the
people.
black men felt like, no, maybe I just don't want to vote for her because I disagree with her.
That's right.
I don't think she's the best candidate.
But the concept is all black men are sexist.
Right.
And that's...
So I get her point that nobody wants to be told that you have to go a certain way.
Yeah.
However, I will say this, that you shouldn't feel that way, but don't just blindly vote the opposite way without knowing what you're voting for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, the other side's not necessarily better.
You can be upset that that they expected you to do something, but the answer isn't to just blindly vote for another. You gotta know what you're doing.
No.
So you think you should blindly vote?
No, I think you're right. But I don't think the premise...
You're so quick, you just want to say no.
No, I'll tell you why I'm saying no. And I'm saying it for a real reason.
What are you saying no to exactly?
That you're saying if you want to go to the other side, you've got to understand why you're doing it. The problem...
And you're saying you don't have to understand.
No, I think you do. But my problem with what you're saying is that the premise is that the normal is voting a certain way.
No. I'm saying...
Let me just finish my point.
You're not making my point.
No,
you're misrepresenting what I said.
You said if you decide to go to the other side, you should understand
because you're upset that this group thinks that you have to vote for them.
I'm saying everybody in every group should make an informed decision, not just because that's what my parents did and everybody else
Every
did.
individual should
That
make
whether you
an
go to
informed
the
decision.
right or the left, no matter which, there shouldn't be a premise that, okay, you should be a Democrat unless you can think of reasons you shouldn't.
Right. I don't think you guys are disagreeing, though.
I'm saying,
No, I know.
right,
He
yeah.
just needs
No.
to. He needs to oppose me.
I'm
so
not
that he immediately just
I'm
says,
not opposing
no,
you.
but you're not representing what I said.
But if you say if you go to the other side means that the normal is being on one side.
No, I didn't say.
That means going to the other side.
Right. I think what Charles means is if you're unhappy with how something is going, it doesn't.
I'm done too.
Coming up.
Well, the long-anticipated return of Euphoria, the final season in full swing right now, and Sydney Sweeney's character, not surprisingly, getting a lot of attention.
It's not celebrating them, it's saying like, oh, look at how weird and creepy they are.
Be right back.
Well, the long-anticipated return of Euphoria, the final season in full swing right now, and Sydney Sweeney's character, not surprisingly, getting a lot of attention. A lot of people, just to give you a little bit of to catch up here, and there are no big spoilers here. She starts doing basically like an OnlyFans. I don't know if they call it OnlyFans on the show, but it's like OnlyFans, and she is doing this to make a lot of money. She needs to pay back a debt. There are a lot of people who are upset, people who actually do have OnlyFans accounts that are putting their content on OnlyFans, and they feel that this character is doing a disservice to them because it's not really showing what their lives are like, and it's also showing some things that just wouldn't be allowed. So joining us now to talk about this, someone who had a lot of success on OnlyFans, but also as an actress, Maitland Ward, you'll remember from Boy Meets World, Bold and the Beautiful, White Chicks also, and now she is a very successful OnlyFans creator. Maitland, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here and talk about things.
Maitland, I am so happy you're on because I've actually been on this campaign in the office that forget about the stigma of OnlyFans. OnlyFans is a really good platform for a lot of people, and I know a lot of celebrities are hopping on. So what I didn't know and really hadn't thought about were these guidelines that you're talking about that seem to, you say, have been ignored in Euphoria. What are the guidelines? Because I had never really thought about that.
There's all sorts of stuff that you can't do, and it's the same in regular adult filmmaking. I mean, you cannot, like the whole child baby thing is so disgusting. And in the climate that we're in, to do that and to use Sydney Sweeney, of all people, who has had such controversy on her own, to come forth and claim, do these just crazy stunts that is making fun of OnlyFans creators. It's not celebrating them. It's saying like, oh, look at how weird and creepy they are. Look, you can just go on and do whatever you want and, you'll just make money right away, which is not the case because there are so many creators who are really working hard to build their brands every day. And this is really disingenuous.
So, Maitland, the stigma that still is there for OnlyFans, I think it's changing a little bit. Is the feeling in the community that, we were starting to make some headway and now Euphoria comes back, a show that people have been really anticipating, and they tune in and this is what they're seeing, and it's sort of like you had, one step up, two steps back. And
absolutely.
Do you know if the producers had a consultant, or is this sort of something they dramatized for the sake of their storyline?
I highly doubt they had any consultant. I think it was just them coming up with things that they think, ooh, these creepy, weird OnlyFans creators do. We'll we'll piggyback on that and we'll make this stupid storyline and it'll for shock value and clickbait. And it's just ridiculous. I think I saw an interview with Sydney Sweeney and Sam about,
Sam Levinson, the producer and creator.
Yeah. We thought of all these crazy things. It's so funny. It's going to be so great. And I don't know if they actually think that these things are really creative and great, which they're not, or they're just making fun of it. And I think it's somewhere between the two, but it's taking the power out of the actual creators who are working to build their brands and are building businesses. And it takes hard work to say like she can just come on and bounce her boobs and do these like gross shots and stuff and she's just going to make millions or whatever overnight is not the case.
You know, I'm fascinated. I'm so interested in it. I'm so glad you're on because what I've been thinking about is, you know, why is it that all of a sudden we're seeing a lot of actresses and actors hopping on OnlyFans, and I'm looking, you know, in my business.
You were one of the first actually to do it.
But I'm looking at Hollywood, and you know, it's dead. That you know, everything's being shot outside of Hollywood now, and it's harder for actors to make the living they could make 10 years ago. So
Absolutely.
I'm wondering if you look at that on top of the fact that it is, like it or not, becoming more mainstream, that that's why you're seeing all these people who are kind of famous from television and movies jumping on.
Right. And with a lot of the people jumping on that are actors from the past, I mean, I went full force. I mean, I've gone the whole into the industry the whole way. But I think a lot of it is a cash grab. I mean, I don't think that they're going to be going and doing much more than, you know, maybe showing a little bit of a boob,
What happened? We lost focus.
I can't see it out of focus.
Is OnlyFans censoring you?
I know. What do they think you're showing? It's all fine. It doesn't need to be blurred. There we go. All right, we're good.
There it goes. So basically, I think, it's a cash grab where they come in and they make a lot of money, probably in the first couple of months. But are they going to continue to make this money? We'll see. You know, I doubt that it's much more than, you know, just a few pictures and some maybe a little racier cameo style videos.
Yeah, but if they can make quick money, what's the problem?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they're going to be full OnlyFans creators. That's what but it's great. Yeah. I mean, it gives these actors and stuff power gave me power to build a brand and to make money and to.
How many years have you been doing it?
I started way back when I did Patreon at the first. So I was before OnlyFans. And so I have been doing it since 2018. I've been doing stuff.
So you've done it almost a decade. What's your life been like?
Amazing. You know what? It's the first time I was actually able to like be my own person, so to speak, not like be under Hollywood's rules and all of their regulations and what they wanted me to be and how they wanted me to act. And so finally I was like, you know, I started it on a whim, a Patreon page in 2018. My fans were like saying, because I was taking kind of sexier pictures online on, you know, Instagram and stuff and Snapchat. And I was getting kind of dinged and kicked off because, you know, there'd be like a shadow of a boob or something. So I was like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, why don't you sell content? And content was like not really existent in the mainstream at that point. I was like, I don't know what that means, but like maybe I'll start an Patreon page. And so I just started it one night and I didn't even announce it. And the next day I had 20 subscribers who were paying like anywhere between $30 and $200 a month. And then by the end of the week, when I did announce it fully, I was the #1 adult subscriber on Patreon. And I was like, wow, because for so many years, I've been told, you can't be the sexy one. Once you're past 25, nobody's going to want to pay for anything. And I just kept pushing forward and ahead. And I really finally felt like liberation being able to do this. And I hope these other actresses joining the platform can feel that way too. And then I went full porn, but
that's a story for another day.
Since 2019, and I'm multi-award winning. So
congratulations.
Well, congrats.
We're actually glad that it's working out for you.
Yeah, we're so glad you came on.
Yeah, thanks for.
I love you guys, talking to you guys and stuff.
Thanks for the real perspective on the life of an OnlyFans creator.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Maitland.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Maitland.
All right, take care. Talk soon.
Coming up.
Jason Collins died on Tuesday after a battle with cancer.
He was a trailblazer.
He was a trailblazer in the NBA, the first openly gay player. And Barkley had something interesting to say about what people think about pro sports is not what's really going on.
Be right back.
Well, the NBA lost one of their former players. Jason Collins died on Tuesday after a battle with cancer. And you may remember Jason Collins' name because
he was a trailblazer.
He was a trailblazer in the NBA, the first openly gay player. And this was a subject. There were a lot of games last night where they actually did moments of silence before the playoff games. And on Charles Barkley and crew were discussing this after the games last night. And Barkley had something interesting to say about where Jason Collins, how he was a trailblazer, and what people think about pro sports is not what's really going on.
What's the big deal if somebody said that they're, openly gay? What's the big deal? Well, 13 years ago it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it doesn't feel as big now at times is because of people like him. And so, kudos to him.
Yeah, but Kenny, in fairness now, if another guy did it, it would still be a big deal because we live in a homophobic society. And that's unfortunate. That's why, first of all, anybody who think we ain't got a bunch of gay players in all sports, they're just stupid. But there is such animosity toward the gay community, and that's what's really unfortunate.
Well, I got to say that Charles is not giving Jason credit because yes, there is homophobia today for sure. It is so much better than it was when he came out, and it was really a courageous thing to do because it seemed like it could be career-ending back then. It's not career-ending now. Right. There still is homophobia, but I do not believe it's career-ending anymore.
No, and he did say earlier in the segment what he did was so brave, and he acknowledged that. But I think what he's saying is, I wish that after Jason Collins, more and more players came through. And he did say, yes, like
that more players
you have the occasional soccer player
to come out, right.
or whoever, but he said,
And he's saying that there are a lot of gay players, and Barkley probably knew that when he was playing, but he also understood why they wouldn't come out.
I want to say
I think he's saying.
But I want to say one other thing, that, it's interesting that you're not required to come out and express what your sexual orientation is. But at the same time, what you don't want to do is live a life that's a lie. But you can live an authentic life without being public. Some people choose, I think there's this pressure that everybody's got to come out to the world. I don't think that's always true. I mean, you don't have to do that. You just got to be authentic.
What it comes down to is if you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback who ultimately comes out and says, I'm gay, that is going to be a massive deal. And Charles is probably saying, I would love to get to a point where it's not a big deal. No one's going to bat an eye, but we are definitely.
But do you walk around saying, hey, by the way, I'm straight?
No.
So why should a gay person have to do that?
Right.
I don't think Barkley was saying that they have to.
I know,
right.
But it's this, I wish more people would. It's like,
He wishes they felt comfortable if they want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Kylie Jenner had a big decision to make back in the day when she got pregnant. How does she share this news with her parents?
I was freaking out.
Be right back.
Kylie Jenner had a big decision to make back in the day when she got pregnant. How does she share this news with her parents? She opened up about her thought process when she was on the Therapists with Jake Shane podcast, and there are differing opinions about what she has to say here.
You were 20 when you had Stormy?
I was 19 when I got pregnant.
Were you like, can I ask, were you like freaking out?
I was freaking out. I was really scared to tell my parents.
And how did that go?
And I was really scared, but but there was something just inside of me that knew that I wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. I had to make a decision for myself, like, what do I really want? What can I handle? And even if I have to do this alone or however, like, this is the choice that I'm going to make. No one was like angry at me. It was crazy times.
Okay, I got to ask a question because I get it. I mean, for you 19 years old and it changes your world. Was this reveal on the Kardashian show? I don't know the answer to that. Does anybody?
That she was pregnant?
Yeah, that she did when she told her parents.
No, I don't think it was on the
They
show.
didn't document the moment she told
Well,
her.
well, that's
the pregnancy.
interesting.
Yeah.
That she took it that seriously.
That shows that it was something
But at the
that
same
she
time,
was...
like, when Kylie was 19 years old, she was literally on her way to become a billionaire. She became a billionaire at 21. She launched her Kylie lip kits at 18, so
It's
she
not-
was already
it's not like
a
your
million.
average teenage
No,
pregnancy,
like
right.
you've
It's
got
not the
a
same
you're
thing.
good.
Or
Like,
the
you're
other way of
totally
looking
fine.
at it is, have a kid at 19, everybody, because you too can be a billionaire.
No, absolutely not.
Well,
Don't have a kid because you're probably not going to become a billionaire.
Okay.
So
Right, and I
don't
think
do
that's why
that.
some
Yeah.
people-
Are you joking?
Okay, yes, I was joking.
Coming up.
It's really hard to keep up with Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. They are in Maryland and hanging out together, and she is
Marilyn Krabby.
Be right back.
Boy, it's really hard to keep up with Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. One day, on Mother's Day,
not a day without drama.
when the week started, on Mother's Day, they were all lovey-dovey. Everything seemed to be great.
Yeah, but that was Sunday.
Well, now, towards the end of the week, they are in Maryland and hanging out together, and she is
Marilyn Krabby.
Yeah, the person the fingers are going toward, that's Stefon, who is leaning up against his car, just like, she's not reacting too much, but
she's coming out of
clearly,
they're coming out of a restaurant, and she is pissed.
Yeah. So, you know, this video was going around online, and Cardi saw this. She says the reason for it, she goes, sometimes I forget I'm a celebrity. Damn, y'all ain't never cuss your baby daddy out when you're hungry? Now,
I don't think she's saying it's because she's hungry. I think there's something.
You think it was more than that?
We'll see what happens with Cardi tomorrow.
Exactly.
And we will see you then.